Hello everyone. Welcome to this webinar about essential oils for animals. And let me introduce myself just for a second. I know a lot of people that are listening to this webinar know me already. To the other ones, I like to introduce myself. My name is Anissa Brauneiss. I am from Austria and I am an essential oil enthusiast. I'm traveling the world teaching about essential oils, especially like one thing that is very near and dear to my heart is the use of essential oils with animals. I am a doTERRA wellness advocate. I am physician certified aroma consultant. I have been a craniosacral omnipath for many years. I'm also certified in the Masterson method as a Masterson practitioner. And just a little tip for all you horse people out there, just research the Masterson method. There's a great book and DVD out there, so I can highly recommend it to do it yourself with your horses. And of course, I am a total animal lover. Right now, my four-legged family contains of one dog, and you see her in the pictures. It's the blonde, cute little doggy girl called Yuma. She is very active, and I mean, she's just such a joyful, playful light in our lives. We have three horses and four chickens. And as you can see, like in the upper left picture, that was a horse I was working with in Geneva. The picture on the upper right was taken in Canada. So I love to travel the world and talk about essential oils and show people how to use them and also explain how they can use them on their own. And I know there are a lot of animal lovers on and listening to this. Some of you already have some experience with essential oils. Others are fairly new to them. And that's a great thing, even if you're new. We're going to start right off with the basics. And let me tell you, they are very great and I mean awesome to use for animals. Why? And why it is actually pretty easy to tell what oil is right for an animal. But let me start off with like the basics. What are essential oils? So essential oils are the aromatic volatile compounds of plants. And this is just, very complicated sounding, but it actually just means that what gives the plant its smell ends up in the bottle as an essential oil. So if you've ever, rubbed a twig of rosemary or lavender, the smell that got into your nose is exactly what gets distilled into the bottle as essential oil. And plants just don't produce them because, they want to make our world smell nicer. They actually use their smell, their aroma to communicate with each other and also to protect themselves from bacteria and fungus. So it's a very important part of the plant. And as you can imagine, essential oils are highly concentrated and potent. It often takes quite a bit of plant material to produce just a little bottle of essential oil, and they're 50 to 80 times stronger than dried herbs. So, just to give you an idea, one drop of peppermint essential oil equals about 28 cups of peppermint tea. So I don't want you to be afraid of essential oils if you know, like, oh my gosh, just one drop is like this strong. But I want you to know that it does not take a lot of oil to really have a big effect. Another thing that I really want to point out when working with essential oils, only use the absolute best quality, especially with your animals, because they cannot give you feedback like as a human being. We can say, oh, this kind of smells weird or it feels weird. I mean, animals do, but it's harder for us to listen. So I want to make sure you only use CPTG certified pure therapeutic grade essential oils. There's a reason for that because there is no international standard that regulates the quality of essential oils. I mean, practically every producer, every company has their own standards, and they can choose the test they're going to take. They can call it whatever they want to. So you need to know that what is in the bottle is 100% pure, natural, and also contains all the compounds that we wish to have in this bottle of. So you will notice in all my pictures, I only have doTERRA essential oil bottles on there because this is the company I chose to work with a few years ago, because I have never ever experienced any oil that came close to the quality that they have. And I also invite everyone who gets the chance to smell a doTERRA oil and compare it with a not doTERRA oil. Just, let your own nose tell you the difference, and you will totally smell the difference like right away. It's amazing. So how do we use essential oils? Like on ourselves or on our pets and horses, even like cows. There is the possibility to use them aromatically. So this is what's also called inhalation. That's practically just inhaling the aroma out of the bottle, or rubbing a drop between your hands, smelling it, or using a diffuser, or putting a drop into a piece of fabric, and then maybe, putting it into the bed of your dog, or the blanket for the horse. And you can also make room sprays or box stall sprays for the horse. Aromatic and inhalation works really well if you have to deal with some respiratory issues, or if you want to support the respiratory system. Also, if it comes to mood, if you want your animal to relax, it's great to use it aromatically. And topically, of course, it's really great if you want to, support the skin, if you want to massage something into joints. Of course, cuts and scrapes you will apply topically, and if you use essential oils as an insect repellent. And don't be afraid or worry about absorption through the fur. Even if you have a furry, say, dog, you don't have to, shave the dog, or, find a spot where it doesn't grow any fur. It's perfectly fine. I mean, the hair will absorb the essential oils to the bloodstream. And if you choose to use essential oils internally, which I do myself, and oftentimes animals choose to lick the oil off the hands, or sometimes try to lick the bottle, that's perfectly fine if you use CPTG quality. Of course, again, very important that it's all natural and you don't use a huge amount. I mean, as I said, one drop peppermint oil, 28 cups of tea, just in comparison. I mean, that's crazy. And this tells you that one drop goes very, very long way, especially in animals. But by all means, it's perfectly fine if they take them. Very interesting is what is called the self-selection process in animals, and there's even a word for that. So this is called zoopharmacognosy, which is basically just the science of instinctive or trained selection of remedies. Not only remedies, basically everything the animal wants to take or use in a specific situation. So what we also call instinct, an animal isn't feeling well, so it chooses a plant that will help to get better, which is nice outside, like in free nature, but it's very hard to support that when you have your horse in a pasture, and of course, your dog in your garden. But we can kind of use the self-selection process to help them show us what oil they need in what situation. So one example with the self-selection, I mean, what you can see here is the diffuser in the background, and this is my dog Yuma. I took this picture. It was like in early spring, kind of wintry from the weather, and we were out and about, and it was raining, and it was cold, and around noonish, because we were out in the morning, and early afternoon, she started, to sniffle a little bit, had a little cough. So I was like, oh, maybe she caught, bit of a cold. So I wanted to support her lungs and, make her feel better. So especially during the night, I put on this diffuser. I put in a few drops of an essential oil blend that is made specifically for the respiratory system. And she has multiple places to sleep. Like she's on the couch. Usually at night when we go to bed, she takes the spot right next to our bed where she has her blanket and stays there for 1 or 2 hours and then goes back to the couch. And then she has another bed right next to my desk. So she had the possibility to go wherever she wanted and sleep wherever she wanted. And that night, she didn't even come to us into the bedroom. She stayed right with the diffuser because she was obviously needing it. So the next day, she was feeling fine again. Everything was good. So that's an easy way to help your dog during different kind of. What you can also do, like if you want your animal to select an oil, and you're not quite sure which oil they would like, you just offer the bottle to them, or maybe just the cap of the bottle, because the bottle itself can be too strong for them. Or you just rub some oil, and this can also be diluted between your fingers and offer your fingers to your animal just to see if they like it. Or, put a drop into a little tissue or a piece of fabric and see how they react to it. Or, as I did, make a diffuser spot. Put a diffuser somewhere. Always make sure that they can leave the room and can get away from them, either if it's too strong for them or they don't like the oil that you're diffusing. But if they like it, they will stick around the diffuser for quite a while. And the sensitivity, of course, that depends on age, character, and breed. Like Yuma is a hunting dog cross, so she has a highly sensitive nose. She's also quite young. She's getting 4 years next week, so her nose is working super, super fine. And I have to make sure I'm not overloading her with, sensation, smell. So she only likes to, smell a little bit out of the cap, or if I rub the oil between my fingers, that's fine for her. Like a bottle of oil is way too much to offer to. So signs of approval, there are multiple ways they can show you. And I'm going to show you some videos of a donkey and horses because it's very easy to see in them. But it's the same with dogs and cats. So the longer they sniff an oil and the more interest they show, obviously, the more they like it. If they try to lick off the oil, like from your hands, for example, that's a very good sign too. And if they stay around the diffuser, it shows you as well that they kind of like the smell that comes out of it. Signs of refusal, of course, are like turning away from the oil or even leaving, smelling it and then like, ugh, too much, or I don't like that. And then usually they go away. And give them the chance and show them that it's okay to show you that they don't like something. Sometimes they think they need to behave, and even though they don't like it. So if your dog is like that, and you will usually know your dog, then just, be a little more careful about their body language. So if they flatten their ears like horses or also cats and dogs do, and if, they get some tension into their body, you can probably tell that it's not the perfect oil for them. And as I've said before, the animal might just refuse the oil because the input is just too much. It's too strong for them. So then work with just a tinier amount or dilute them before you offer them. And I wouldn't offer more than 3 oils at once. If you've been through 3 oils and nothing seemed to work for them, give them a break for a couple of hours, then try maybe different oils and a smaller amount and see how it works for them. I'm going to show you a video about how I offered ylang ylang to a horse during a workshop in Switzerland. And, I'm holding Lavender, and he was kind of interested in it, but see, you can tell he's interested in something his handler is holding. So she had ylang ylang, and I said to her, he wants something you have. Just open up the ylang ylang and see how he reacts. I mean, he first smelled the bottle when it was still closed, but the bottle, has a distinct aroma even if it's closed. And now look at him. Look at his like mouth and his nose, the twitching of his lips, his eyes, they get softer. He really loved that. And the reason why I chose ylang ylang as one of the 3 oils was because the owner told us, he's one of those geldings. He's very, macho, like he always thinks he has to be in charge of the whole herd and has a hard time to relax. So we thought, well, let's choose something that might help him to relax, like lavender and this ylang ylang. And the ylang ylang, first of all, opens up the heart. It makes you kind of softer to your surroundings. And it's great, especially for men, to be not so hard on themselves. Not always think like the weight of the world is on their shoulders, to help them, be lighter again. And can you see he rested his leg and he is totally in the zone now. I mean, and it was, I turned off like the sound so you hear my voice, but all the people standing around, there were about 10 or 12 people, they were laughing and chatting and commenting on it. So, I mean, there was something going on. We then tried the third oil as well, which, I mean, but I don't even think it really got through to him because look at him. I mean, he is so relaxed and calm. I mean, he kind of checked it out, but that's about it. So this is very obviously one of those moments where you can tell, oh, this horse liked. Well, that was perfect. So now let's take a look at this cute little donkey that was also in Switzerland, like the other horse was doing a workshop in Switzerland. So we offered geranium to that girl. And look, I mean, she really wanted to lick it. It's always funny when they search for something in your hand. It's like, oh, it smells so amazing, but there's nothing on there. Sometimes it takes them a while to find out they can actually lick it. And the reason with this donkey, I actually chose geranium because there was a wart coming off. And geranium is also great for the skin. But her reaction made me kind of wonder because that was a little too much, actually, I thought, for, just skin support. So I asked the owner, what has happened in her life recently? I mean, did something happen to her? Isn't she feeling maybe so well and happy? And then they told me, yes, she actually lost a fall. And they could tell that she was really sad about it. I mean, the foal was dead when she gave birth to it already. And they said she was, unhappy. She seemed really unhappy and closed off for a little while. And geranium is a great oil to work with after trauma of any kind. Also very heart opening because it's a flowery oil. So it made total sense that she loved that geranium, not just for her skin. I mean, there was a whole lot more going on for this little donkey girl. Is this? That was also in Switzerland. And this is a no. Look, she's checking it out just to make sure it's not a treat. And then she's like, no, thank you, not interested. Very obvious. I mean, she's more interested in her handler. And she gave it a try. I mean, she was a good girl. But again, I think she was just checking as well if it was a treat. But obviously, no, nothing for her. So it's important that, this is a sign of refusal. It can be different, the horse can smell it and then, you see in her face like, oh, no, no, I don't like that. So this was kind of soft, but still very obvious. So this was Canada, Canada. And look, this horse took a sniff, then took a little break, just, processed it and came back again. It was like, no, 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 don't go away with it. Let me have another sniff. So this is also a sign of interest. And then he tried to lick the bottle. So this was, but he needed, at first, the first sniff he took, the first time he experienced it, it was more of a, whoo, what's that? Oh, actually, I like that. And then he came back. So this is was very cute and pretty horse. Those were some examples that I want. Go on. So some safety tips. First of all, did you see in the videos that with the horses, when we offer the bottle, we kind of have the bottle pretty deep in our hands because, I mean, it's made out of glass. And sometimes when a horse wants to bite the bottle, I just want to make sure it doesn't break or anything gets hurt. And you don't want, some dust or horsehair on your bottle, actually, just, for hygienic reasons. And if you use the oils on the animal, be it in a diffuser, topically, or internally, just use a small amount. Trust me, a little goes a very long way. You can always dilute the oils, especially with dogs and cats and even horses. I mean, don't be surprised that a horse, even though it's tall and a big animal, it doesn't need a lot of oil. Not much. Like in my experience, they don't need more oils than us humans do, even though they have a bigger body. So you could use 1 tablespoon of carrier oil, and this is everything from olive oil, almond oil. I like to use fractionated coconut oil because it doesn't have its own aroma. It absorbs quickly into the skin, and it's high quality. I also buy it through doTERRA, but use whatever carrier oil you like and feel comfortable with. And then just into 1 tablespoon of carrier oil, put 1 to 2 drops of essential oil, and then use just 1 drop of this mixture. With cats, I would even use up to 2 tablespoons of carrier oil and just 1, 2, maybe 3 drops of essential oil, depending on the oil. Especially dilute if you're working with a hot oil. So hot, you will be able to tell it's everything that smells hot already, would be oregano, thyme, cinnamon, cassia, often spices that we know also taste hot. If you're using a diffuser, as I said, give the animal the possibility to leave the room, to get away from it. Avoid melaleuca, which is tea tree with cats. We're going to talk about it just in a second. And if your pet has any known diseases, talk to your veterinarian first. Like with everything that you would do to support, on a natural level, just make sure your veterinarian knows about it and just talk about it with. And never ever put essential oils into eyes or ears or onto noses, of course. Just don't do that. It's absolutely not necessary. So even with yourself, don't put them into your eyes. I mean, that's crazy. You don't want to do. You can dab it around an eye if you need to, dab it around the ear, massage it into the ear, into the earlobes, but don't drop it in. So cats are very sensitive. Every cat owner will know. But we can use essential oils on them. We just need to highly dilute them. And I like to use diffusers around cats. And they will tell you if they like to diffuse. I mean, sometimes I hear people talk about like, oh, cats hate essential oils. That's actually not true. I mean, especially if it's a high quality oil. I've been around a lot and I've been into many, many homes that had cats. And we often put on a diffuser with like a citrus oil, like wild orange. And I don't know who started to say the citrus oils are not safe for cats, because I've had many cats that, lay underneath the diffuser. And I mean, there were big rooms. They could have been everywhere, but they enjoyed the diffuser. And they're also great. Like one veterinarian uses the diffuser with a respiratory blend in them for cats. Because, I mean, if you have ever owned a cat or been around cats for a longer period of time, you know that using an inhaler on a cat is just, a nightmare. And in the diffuser, they really like it. They enjoy it. So let your cat tell you if they like it or not. And, just give them the room to say no. But oftentimes they really love diffuser. And to the melaleuca, I just wanted to briefly talk about it. There has been a study in the 90s where scientists took 3 cats, shaved them, and used 20 ml melaleuca oil on each cat, like 20 ml on every cat. This is a crazy amount, and I have no idea what quality the melaleuca oil was, which again, melaleuca is tea tree. And this is like if you would put us, like as humans, into a bathtub of essential oils. That's way, way too much. Crazy amount. One of these poor cats died during the study, and the other 2, they could be saved, but I mean, it was very risky and they weren't feeling well at all. So my experience is that cats can absolutely take a small amount of melaleuca. They are missing one enzyme in the liver that would help them metabolize one of the compounds in melaleuca, but a small amount does not seem to be a big problem for them. Actually, in the respiratory blend, one of the parts is melaleuca. Of course, 1 drop of the whole blend only contains a tiny amount, but they don't seem to mind that. But if I offered melaleuca like pure to a cat, they don't enjoy that. So my advice is just don't use it on them. Most of them don't like it anyway. There are many alternatives to melaleuca, to tea tree. But it's not quite as it often you will read and find online if you look at the study. So yeah, I'm not sure if maybe every other oil, if you use 20 ml on a shaved cat at one time, would have produced horrible results for the cat. So just be more careful around your cats. So let's talk about my favorite oils for animals. Peppermint is a great one, especially now here in Europe. It's summer and peppermint is very cooling, so I like to make cooling sprays for horses especially. You could also make, a little bit of a softer, lighter one for dogs. Just take a glass spray bottle, put in some water and a few drops of peppermint oil. Shake it, of course, before you use it and spray the horse with it. And a lot of horses like peppermint oil. I mean, they like the taste and the smell of it, and it really feels cooling. You can do it yourself actually if you're getting hot, or put a drop onto the back of your neck. It's really cooling, refreshing, and it also supports healthy digestion. Lavender is one of those Swiss Army knives of oils. It can do so much. It's very calming. It's great for the skin if you have any cuts and scrapes. It's also an insect repellent in many cases, and I think the smell of it is just divine. Really, really awesome. Lemon, I personally like to drink lemon, just put a drop into a jug of water and it has a very nice aroma. It tastes great. It helps to flush out toxins out of my body. It's amazing oil and it's a great air refreshener. So if you have one of those smelly, wet dogs, coming into your house, just put a few drops of lemon oil into the diffuser and it will smell fresh in 15 to 30 minutes. And it cleans sticky stuff out of the fur. So if your dog likes to roll in something, or I've had friends where the kids put a piece of gum. I mean, it just they didn't probably did it on purpose, but a piece of gum got stuck in the hair of a long-haired cat, and they had to cut out the piece of gum. If they would have just put a tiny amount of lemon essential oil on it, they could have cleaned it out easily. Melaleuca, which is the tea tree, this is another, all-around oil. I like to use it in my skin support blend. So for any, irritated skin or little cuts, I use lavender, frankincense, and melaleuca. Then top it off with some fractionated coconut oil, and I put it directly onto the skin where I want it to work. It's also an insect repellent, and as we've talked already, just avoid it with cats. They don't like it. Frankincense. Oh, what a great oil. I mean, there's also another one of those oils where you can talk so much about them. But let me just say, frankincense is great for healthy cell function and the renewal. And I'm sorry, I just noticed there are a few typos in here. But the renewal of the skin. That's also the reason why you find frankincense in a lot of high quality, very expensive anti-aging products because it's so great for your skin cells or your cells in the body in general. So it's great to massage joints or to use scar tissue, and it's very calming as well, very grounding oil, one of the more expensive oils, but absolutely worth every cent. Oregano is one of the super hot oils, so highly dilute them if you use them on your animals, and it's great for immune support, another type. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, you can use it highly diluted, support the immune system of actually, any animal. But it's a strong oil, so I guess not a lot of animals will really like it. But you can try to offer it to them. Just make sure that they don't lick it off if it's not diluted because it's so hot tasting as well. On Guard. Oh, what an amazing, amazing blend. So this contains cinnamon, wild orange. It also has rosemary in it. Amazing oil. Also great for the immune system. It's purifying, cleaning to the ear. So if you have, say, a sick dog came to visit and you want to make sure the ear is cleaned after the dog leaves, just, to protect your other animals maybe, just put a few drops into the diffuser and clean the air that way. Then the breathe oil we talked about, that was the blend that I used on my dog when she started, to have a little cough. So it's great for the respiratory system. It's also very nice for horses, and a lot of horses like it. And horses are unfortunately pretty prone to lung problems. So, what I recommend is just putting 1 or 2 drops into your hands and rub them together and then offer it to the horse. And what I find, if it's, fitting for the situation, they feel like it's helping them, they will take a few deep breaths. They might, take a break, walk back, then come back again and really inhale the oil. And very nice. The deep blue is the so-called soothing blend. It's great for joints and muscles. With horses, we like to use it, with some carrier oil after they have been to a show or, racing horses, competition horses, just to support, to help the joints and the muscles regenerate again. It's also nice for people, of course. Maybe for all the animals, for the joint, it's a great blend. Just make sure it's a strong smelling blend. So you want to dilute it or not put it onto the front paws, but you can put it onto their backs, for example. With cats, I would highly dilute it, but it's a great blend. I've had horses want to lick it off. It contains wintergreen, so that's one of the oils, and you see it has a different cap. It has a child-safe cap, so it's not necessarily very good to ingest. I mean, the horse just licks off your hand after it's absorbed to your skin. It won't kill the horse or anything, but don't put it into their food, for example. And yeah, some horses really wanted to lick it off, and I was very surprised by that. So still, if they want to lick it off, I'm not putting it into their feed, but I put it on to some parts of their body. The Digest 10 is the digestive blend. It's one of my favorite blends. This contains like ginger, peppermint, caraway, um, ah, great oil, coriander seeds. So I like to use it whenever I feel, a bit bloated or I have overeat. Or I mean, my stomach is pretty sensitive, and maybe you have an animal, especially like horses as well, are highly sensitive in their with their digestion, and a lot of horses like it. So this is one you could feed to them. Start with just 1 drop in their feed, and don't use more than 5. I think 1 to 5 drops is more than enough for horses, and especially dogs. You can rub it into the back paws of your dog. Just use some carrier oil with it. If they want to lick it off, that's fine as well. You could also use it in the diffuser if you like to. But that's one of the oils that I enjoy to take internally myself or offer it to the animal to take it. Great for motion sickness. So if you're going in the car and your dog gets sick, even if your kids get easily sick, that's one of the great oils for that. And this is kind of unusual, but I like the blend, which is called Sendocrine, the detoxification blend. With Yuma, if she isn't feeling well, digestive wise, I like to use Sendocrine on her. And I have a little roller ball, like a roll on bottle that I put some carrier oil and a few drops of Sendocrine in there. And whenever, her digestive system kind of gets out of whack because of excitement, or maybe she has eaten something that didn't sit too well with her, I rub this onto her back paws, and she really lets me do that. Although she's very sensitive to oils, if she isn't, feeling too well in her tummy, she likes it. And it has helped like a charm the last few times. And it's great, of course, for healthy liver function. So with horses, sometimes this can be an issue, or after they have been on medication, you might want to support the liver. Terra Shield is a repellent blend. So this is great against ticks and mosquitoes. It's a little harder with flies, especially horse flies, but I still use it, and it smells like it's so flowery and nice. It just gotten a new formula which smells a little more woodsy, or like, it has wood oils in there, tree oils in there. So I haven't had a lot of experiences because it hasn't been out that long so far. But yeah, it also contains catnip, like catnip mint. So cats might want to lick it off because of that. It is already pre-diluted, so you can use this most of the times out of the bottle. But with cats, just put a little tiny drop between the shoulder blades and don't rub the whole body. With my dog, if I'm about to go out with her, go for a walk, I use a drop, rub it between my hands, and then, run my hands above her legs and the belly, and maybe a little bit on the back of her neck to make sure we're not taking ticks home with us, or at least not that many. We've had like horrible amount of ticks this year, and I can totally tell the difference if I've used the oil or not. Then the On Guard, this was the oil for the immune support. There's a whole On Guard product line, and especially with the cleaning concentrate and the laundry detergent. That's also something that I want to point out. If you have animals or small children in the home, you want to use as little synthetics as possible in your home or avoid them altogether. Those are biodegradable. They contain the On Guard essential oil. So whenever I wash, the blanket of my dog, I use the laundry detergent because I want to make sure it doesn't matter if she is, lying on there and maybe licking it off or something like that if she's sleeping on there. And I clean the whole house with the cleaning cotton. And I mean, I like to feel totally safe that, when my dog, even if I'm, washing the floors and they're still wet and my dog runs across them and licks the paws afterwards, that it doesn't do her any harm. So that's something that I'm not, not pretty passionate about the whole cleaning topic, but I'm passionate about having a safe environment for my animals and for myself, of course. And with horse blankets, I've been told that the laundry detergent is great as well. And it even gets out, sweaty smell they often. So, yeah, that's worth a try. Here are a few recipes that you can use essential oils for, like a paw balm, which is nice in the winter maybe, if, they have salt on the streets and you walk your dog across them. Just warm about 3 teaspoons of organic coconut oil so it gets liquid. Stir in about 10 drops of lavender and then pour it into a glass and let it harden again and store it in the fridge. And whenever the paws, the skin, you want to take a little care of them, put a little bit of it onto the paw. The lavender is very good for the skin, very calming, analgesic, so great oil for that. And here's a recipe for a fly spray for horses. Um, Make sure you use, if possible, a glass bottle, as a glass spray bottle, because it's always better to store essential oils or anything you made out of them in glass, not in plastic. So here I use 6 drops of lemongrass oil, 4 drops of rosemary, 5 drops of lavender, 2 drops of peppermint, which are also kind of refreshing, and 4 drops of arbor vitae. This is a cedar tree which grows in Western Canada actually, and very wonderful oil. And interestingly, if the cedar, if the arbor vitae tree, breaks down because it's just old, there are not a lot of critters around that the tree will look like it's just fallen down a couple of weeks ago, even though it's been about 5 to 10 years, because it's such a strong insect repellent. Mix those drops with about 250 ml water and put about 2 tablespoons or even teaspoons, if you like, of clear alcohol like vodka in there. This just helps, to mix them up a little better, and you don't have to shake them as hard every time you use them. So that's a very nice fly spray for them. You could also put in some of the Terra Shield blend, but this would be a recipe. So if you're interested in bringing those natural solutions to your home or to your barn, just contact the person that sent you this webinar, because I've made it available for um, many friends that I work with, many essential oil enthusiasts. Or if I've been the person that contacted you or you've known me before, just write me an email or find me on Facebook. I'd love to connect on Facebook. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. I love to educate people, as you maybe can tell, about this whole essential oil topic and especially on the animals. And yeah, I mean, I can tell you how to get the best oils into your home, what possibilities you have, how and what is the cheapest way to do that. And I'd love to connect with you. So feel free to contact me. Feel free to reach out with any questions you have. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something valuable for yourself and your pets. And I hope we meet again, maybe in person sometime. So thanks for watching.